All right, guys, we are here back home today. All right, we just had some breaking news this morning. Hold on, let me make sure we home today. So we had some breaking news today, specifically that Chinese regulators blocked ByteDance from using NVIDIA chips in new data centers, according to the information. This is making microchips, specifically NVIDIA, dump down to 175. You can see the NASDAQ dropped originally when this news came out about 15 minutes ago. Bitcoin also falling down a little bit as well, down to 86,400s for Bitcoin. NVIDIA, again, sitting at 175. AMD at 202s. But yeah, we also had AstraZeneca in combination with standard of care FLOT chemotherapy has been approved in the U.S. for treatment of adult patients with respectable early stage and locally advanced gastric and gastroesophageal junction cancers. But yeah, the big news is that ByteDance was blocked from using NVIDIA chips in new data centers, with the move being part of Beijing's strategy to force adoption of domestic chips. And that's not good. Of course, that's not good for NVIDIA and other microchip companies. JP Morgan also filed to launch a Bitcoin-backed bond. But yeah. Yeah, I'm just glad to be back home, man. I love Louisiana. Ate some good food. Feel kind of guilty about how much good food I ate because it's all fried seafood. But it's just good. But glad to be back home. Honestly, it's really nice to be back home. You know, doing everything from a travel laptop is not ideal. So, hope you guys are doing good. And yeah, we're back home. We drove. Back in the kitchen, you know, as they say. Yeah, today we got jobless claims unemployment filings. Now, so we do have jobless claims unemployment filings coming out today. We also have durable good orders coming out today as well. We got jobless claims, we have durable goods. It's all dropping today. Jobless claims, as you can see on the bottom scroller, are expected at 225,000 for jobless claims. 225K. I don't know why. There we go. Okay, we got it back up and running. And tomorrow's Thanksgiving, guys, so I hope you guys have a happy Thanksgiving tomorrow as well for my US. Yeah, jobless claims expected at 225. Durable goods expected at 0.5% over month. It says we also have building permits today too, but and then later on we have new home sales in Chicago PMI coming out as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I'm back in my kitchen as well, you know, or my mom's basement, whichever one y'all want to call it, that's fine. Yeah, look at that gold numbers here. Gold up to 4,200s again. What is the all-time high for gold? Like 44. Again, look at Bitcoin fall as we speak today. Yeah, the big news is that basically China is discouraging their companies. And this is the news we already knew. This is something that we already knew was like a current dynamic of what they're doing over there. But yeah, China discouraging people from buying non-domestic chips, which they specifically did this. They announced, or we found out this morning, that they blocked ByteDance from using NVIDIA chips in new data centers. So Beijing is building an alternative AI ecosystem using homegrown chips and open weight models, according to the information. So it is what it is. Oh, sorry to hear that, Tiny. Hit 244 home run with that drop off on the 1 hour retest done until Friday. Y'all have a great holiday. Hey, thank you. Hustle hard. Appreciate it, brother. Yeah, jobless claims, unemployment coming out today. We'll see what happens. It's something. The data is back. We're bouncing at 125s right now. But again, you can kind of see AMD. We can take a look at Meta, which is still doing incredibly well. It was up to 640s. Might be time to take a little bit of profit off on Meta. I think it's probably time. But Meta, Microsoft, again, Google, still doing really well. We're around 330s for Google. I'm going to take a little bit off of my Meta position here just because, like, we're up. I don't want to sit on this too long. All right. Home Depot is basically rebounded all the way back up. You'd love to see it. It's back up to 350s. Yeah. Shout out to Home Depot. We're a little red on our portfolio today, but that's all right. Yeah, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We'll see what jobless claims look like today. Put the chat in live chat mode. 5,000 coming on gold. Yeah, maybe. Gold at 4,200s. I think the closer it gets to all-time highs, the more likely it is that it breaks it, to be honest. It doesn't necessarily mean it will, but I think the closer it gets to all-time highs, which at this point for gold is it's roughly 4,400. I think it's like $2 under 4,400. Yeah, here's Bitcoin. The 1 minute chart. The time is a little off though. But yeah. Bitcoin down to 86,000 this morning. Do we still trade gold tomorrow? I'm not sure. I know most markets are closed. I know equities are. So on Thanksgiving, stock markets, NASDAQ, S&P, or no, stock markets, New York Stock Exchange, and NASDAQ are closed. Bond markets are closed. Yeah, I don't know if you can trade gold. Might be able to. I don't know. So is the market slower today because of the public holidays? No, I don't know about today. Tomorrow it's closed. But I think today it's I mean, I don't know. Maybe. OSCR upgraded at Piper Sandler. ODFL initiated at Rothschild and Redburn. Looking for other breaking news. So far, it's a little slower. Sure that you got a bunch of people that are traveling today, to be honest. So today's a big travel day in the United States. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. So I'm sure people are just moving. That's how it goes. But we're bouncing up here. I'm watching this 150 level. Pretty sure all CME markets are closed. Yeah, that's probably true. I'll look to maybe short this 150 level. Maybe. We'll see. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to, but I'm looking at 150 here. We're getting close enough to it. Let's see if we get up there. Like a little bit higher here. I'm okay if we miss it. Again, I think we have to watch like Nvidia and other microchips today. Here's gold. See Bitcoin. It's probably close enough where I can start. Keep it small though. We'll add a little bit to it. Goes up higher. But yeah, look at Nvidia. Nvidia's bouncing back. Yeah, so index futures are green, not necessarily like euphoric, consistent with continuation of this week's rebound. We don't have GDP today, but we do have durable goods. We've got jobless claims numbers at 8:30 that could shift the narrative. Rate cut expectations for December. If we take a look at like yields, yeah, I wanted to add more to this, but I just didn't get a chance to. So it's a small trade. We'll take a look at yields real quick and see how this goes. If it goes deeper in the green, we'll add to it. But yields are almost back down to 4%. Rate cut odds are pretty likely at this point in time for December. Again, rate cut odds pretty likely, but they seem a little up today. And yeah, they're a little bit green today, and in yields they're at 4.011%. I guess I'm gonna add to this now. I guess I'm gonna add to it. All right, we're gonna take half off now. But yeah, yields are a little up today, but down overall, of course, on the week. Rate cut odds are just pretty much guaranteed for December. Now, this is always subject to change. We could always change. Cover that right there. But yeah, this is always subject to change. Is anybody else getting this error on the Fed Watch tool? 503 service unavailable. Is anybody else getting this error when they try to check the Fed Watch tool? Is it just me? Looks like the end of the month Bitcoin dump is. Yeah, look at the VIX. The VIX is going to be down over the last week or so because the market's back up. Yeah, it was at like almost 30 back here in the peak of the fears. Mid to late last week. No, PCE's not today. PCE is canceled today. So is GDP. We were going to get PCE today, but they canceled it. We were going to get GDP today, but they canceled it. So unfortunately, those releases are now canceled. We're only getting jobless claims, unemployment filings, right? And durable goods. So again, GDP canceled, rescheduled. PCE data canceled, rescheduled is what it is. Okay, so it's not just me on the Fed Watch tool. Got it. All right. Yeah, the FOMC meeting is the 10th of December. Womble. No, today's going to be jobless claims. Today's going to be for last week, jobless claim. It's not for October, it's last week. I don't think they're going to publish. This October's data. Here's the VIX. Again, VIX is low, as it should be. I mean, it might be peaking a little bit higher this morning on the ByteDance not using NVIDIA chip news that we saw earlier in the day. But yeah, here's NVIDIA. You can watch NVIDIA for a rebound. Yeah, I mean, I see the UK budget release, but it's not really, you know. Again, UK's Reeves raised taxes by 29.8 billion by 2030 in budget. They plan to change legislative framework to reduce the requirement for the OBR to assess the fiscal rules to once per year rather than twice. And some other stuff. But again, that's not really. With all due respect, listen, my last name's London. Okay, London. It's not the most relevant news for US markets. No offense. It's all love here. You know, don't hate me. It's just truth. If they're data dependent, they can't justify a cut with no data, or that is the justification. I don't know. I think they're gonna hit it from a couple different angles. I think PCE data is actually gonna be coming out on. I think the next PCE inflation report is coming out like December 5th. So I think we'll have some data, and I think we have had some data. I think they're going to look at jobless claims. We had ADP data yesterday that showed negative, what was it, like negative 13,500 yesterday. for ADP data. The next PCE inflation report is going to be Friday, December 5th at 8:30, according to Market Watch. This covers the September data. We're not getting October data, but this is September PCE inflation. And I think we're also seeing weak job numbers. Private payroll numbers were weak. We had ADP non-farm. We had ADP weekly preliminary employment estimate yesterday. It showed up at negative 13,500, negative 13.5K. That's a bad number. That's a bad number, you know? And so I think at a certain point, like, we are getting data. It's not the data that we're necessarily used to and all that stuff, but it is something. And I think the data that we're getting is not necessarily good. It's not necessarily good. I think we got inflation data yesterday, PPI inflation specifically for September, and it wasn't horrible. It was about neutral. Some of it wasn't necessarily good, but it wasn't terrible either. But I don't know. I just know at this point yields are down. Rate cut odds for December are up to like 80+% now. Now, whether they stay that way, depending on the data that we get coming out. Again, today we have jobless claims, durable goods. Next week we got more stuff coming out. Now, depending on if they stay that way, I don't know. I don't know. Like, just to put this into perspective, next week we have PCE on Friday, jobless claims on Thursday, ADP non-farm employment on Wednesday, services, ISM services on Wednesday. Monday we have ISM manufacturing data, and so we got more data coming out next week. We'll see what it looks like. But the Fed can do whatever it wants. Yeah, I mean, again, and I think at a certain point, let me do a poll. I realized I didn't do a poll this morning. Again, will the Fed cut rates in December? This is not whether you think they should or shouldn't. This is about whether you think they will. Will the Fed cut rates in December? Let me know. There's the poll. Poll is now live. And again, as of now, I think they will. I think if everything stays like this, they will. And I think they have. It's not that they have to. They should. Why should they? Well, because the labor reports that we're seeing are not good, and if it continues in the same trend, we might be heading towards, you know, a really weak economy. And right now, about 80% of you guys think yes, Fed will cut rates in December. It's pretty similar to what the Fed watch tool shows. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm thinking we do right now, but it's always subject to change. Again, NVIDIA, AMD remain under pressure after a report that Meta may shift a significant portion of AI chip spending towards Google in-house accelerators, raising concerns about long-term share for incumbent GPU suppliers. AI chip competition is broadening as well. Google and Alphabet gains investor favor and has ripped up over the last few days. And other partners such as Broadcom from perceived diversification away from a single dominant GPU vendor. Dell is trading higher. And yeah, again, today we have jobless claims, unemployment, durable goods. Again, we do not have GDP and PCE, which was originally slated for today. We do not have that. They pushed it back. The Bureau of Economic Analysis rescheduled that release. But we're not getting that, and I think some of them are actually canceled. I think third quarter GDP, third estimate, which is the one that was supposed to come out today, is canceled now. I don't think we're getting that report at all. So. It can't be weak. Altman and ChatGPT will carry all the economy to the next year. The IPO, take over Meta Apple. I'm 100 on board with a cut, but the rug pull is coming at some point. It would be a great time to do so. Where's 9:30? It's 8:30 jobless claims. Yeah, jobless claims come out at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. You think a rate cut of 25 basis points Points can really change the shift, though. No, I mean, a 25 basis point cut is not going to do much. But I think it can kind of slowly begin easing. Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't think that's what it is, JB. So, like, JB says ridiculous. The current administration doesn't like the bad reports, so poof, they're canceled. Honestly, I think that's just kind of like a political argument. I think that's just kind of like a political, like a partisan thing. Like, you know, and the reason I dislike both sides of the political spectrum is because they will use things and get people riled up unnecessarily, right? Like, I'll put it this way. The current administration wants rate cuts, right? They want anything that might show we need to cut rates. They're not necessarily going to dislike it. And so saying that the current administration doesn't want these labor reports out because it shows bad data, you know, I think they kind of want bad data because it shows that they wanted rate cuts earlier, you know. It shows they should have cut rates earlier, which is one of their big arguments. And again, I'm not really getting into partisan politics. I would just say take political stuff like that with a grain of salt. Like, both sides are going to try to get you riled up, and like most of the time, the truth is somewhere in the middle. You know, like it's kind of like the government shutdown, right? One side's like it was your fault, the other side's like it was your fault. Neither one of them are telling the truth, right? They're just trying to get you riled up. That's all it is. Be resilient to that. Don't fall for that so easily, you know. Remember months back when the president called the bad jobs report news, yet he seemed to desperately want rate cuts. Odd. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure there is some discrepancies in what they want, 100%, you know. Again, presidents generally take a very specific strategy. If inflation's high but the economy's strong, they say, look how strong the economy is. You know, if the economy's weak but inflation's going down, they say, look what we're doing to inflation. We're solving inflation over here, you know. And so that's kind of the political 101 playbook, you know. That's how it goes. Why ask if they will? It's a fact they will cut rates. Well, because it's not a fact. I don't know if you know what a fact is. It might be probable for them to cut rates, but it's definitely not factual that they will, you know. I don't know if you can necessarily pay enough attention to the rate decisions, but this is subject to change, you know. Like if we see strong labor and high inflation data over the next few weeks, it becomes less likely they cut rates. If we get different, like right now, the Fed is pretty split, actually. The Federal Reserve is pretty split. Like, they don't know what they're going to do. It's likely that we cut rates, but it's definitely not 100% likely. Yeah. %, facts or not probability. What's the best news outlet that understands? If they have extra funds because of lower rates, they'll rather keep that extra money for themselves. I don't know, man. I think, yeah, I think it depends. I think it's really nuanced, and, yeah, I think it depends. I gotta say, that was a short vacation. We just went in town for the LSU game and to visit family, and then we came back. So we went in town for the LSU game, came home, you know. Yeah, I'm back home. Listen here, guys. I'm back home. It feels good, too. I needed this computer. Honestly, running this stream from a work computer is not fun. Or from a travel setup, it's not fun. We cover all the economic news here, you know. Like, you might see some haters. Usually they're mad because they have, like, tiny channels. That's not what you thought I was going to say, right? They have tiny channels, and they're kind of mad about it, so they kind of just lash out, you know. It's okay. You know, I feel for them. Moment of silence for all those who are banned, you know. I'm here. Just, they can, you know, I'll be all right. I'll be okay. Bitcoin popping back up. It's at almost 86,500. Look at Nvidia. So again, what happened this morning, guys, is that Nvidia, we had some bad news for Nvidia that dropped right when I woke up. Chinese regulators blocked ByteDance from using Nvidia chips in new data centers, with the move being part of Beijing's strategy to force adoption of domestic chips. They say Beijing is building an alternative AI ecosystem using homegrown chips and open weight models. This is what pushed Nvidia down early this morning. But now you can kind of see Nvidia starting to rise back up. It's at 177. The NASDAQ is following suit and flying back up. Bitcoin is bouncing back up here as well. So that is the news that affected markets this morning, but it's not holding the markets down necessarily. We're starting to pop back up. President also tweeted again about 6 minutes ago. I think it's mostly partisan stuff. Yeah, he's basically crying about the New York Times. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into it. It's just too partisan for me. It's too political. I'm not really getting involved with any of that. They get AMD up to 204s right now. AMD up to 204s. Honestly, I'd say this is one of the best channels to tune into. The vibes are great, and literally everything you need to know about the data is covered here. Hey, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm back home. I'm glad to be back home. LSU game was fun, though. I hadn't been to one in a while. I mean, LSU's not good this year. We're kind of missing the head coach, Brian Kelly. I'm not really missing him, though. But all right, so we're over this 150 level. I want to see if the 170 level holds. Again, Nvidia back up, Bitcoin back up a little bit. But Bitcoin, I think, is still down on the day total. Do you think the jobless numbers will come in higher or lower? I really don't know. These are weekly unemployment filings. The reason jobless claims unemployment is relevant is because this is a week-to-week unemployment filing report. And so a lot of the other reports we get for jobs specifically are lagging, especially right now with the government shutdown, canceling a lot of October data. A lot of the reports we get are lagging right now. Jobless claims is not. Jobless claims is a week-to-week unemployment filing report, so it gives us a more real-time look at unemployment. And, yeah, because of that, I really don't know what it's going to show. It's expected at 225,000 today, or 225 or 226K. I think last time it showed up at 220, if I remember correctly. The previous one was about 220,000 for jobless claims unemployment. We also have durable goods data coming out as well. Yeah, the Fed watch tool is down. I don't know what's going on. I'm from Mississippi. Go Tigers. Yeah, go Tigers. Thank you. I hope we get Lane Kiffin from you guys. You know, we might pay $100 million for him, but hey, you know, better than Brian Kelly. How long until the report here? I got you. Let me put a timer up. I realized I didn't put a timer up today. Report comes out in 45 minutes, almost exactly 45 minutes. So, yeah, 45 minutes until this report releases. Oh, it's important enough to drop the market. And it goes to $100 a share in time. I hope so. I took a little bit off of my meta position, though, just because it rebounded so heavily. Home Depot was up a lot, too. Nasdaq's climbing back. I'm watching this 200 exponential at 170 right here. I want to see if 170 holds it down. It depends on whether Nvidia and the other microchip stocks kind of follow suit. Again, Bitcoin back up to 86.6 thousand here. So gold going back to yesterday. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm watching Nvidia right now. Google's also pretty relevant this morning. Here's gold. Gold's falling down under 4200s, but it's still elevated. It just depends. We got a lot of UK news. Chancellor Reeves says there will be no return to austerity. We'll continue to invest in the economy and the health systems. He says OBR release of forecast is disappointing, a serious error. He says borrowing will fall as a percentage of GDP every forecast year. Notes that GBP 21.7 billion of fiscal headroom. He says she will introduce 3-year stamp duty relief on new IPOs in the UK. So UK news coming out, a little boring for US news, but Roland says the US has the lowest cattle herd in 75 years. He says beef price will take a couple of months to go down. Where's oil this morning? So if we take a look at oil today, oil's 57s right now. It's almost time to buy oil, huh? When is the contract rollover for 57s? It's pretty freaking cheap for oil. Is it time to buy oil, guys? What do you guys think? Oil's at 57.70 a barrel right now. Nasdaq flying back up. Nvidia still creeping back up. Again, if you take a look at Meta, back up a little bit. Apple up. Google up. Look at the market pump. Talk of oil going to 30. I mean, it could. I hope it doesn't. But I mean, it could. It went to 30 back in 2016. It went to 6.5 back in 2020. So, not immune to that type of stuff, but look at that 185 level. I don't know why I have this big green level on the chart. You can see 185 right there. We just tapped it. I'm not saying it's the greatest level ever here, but it might be. You know, could be. I'm not saying it is. Yeah, the peace talks, 100%. AMD fighting its way back up too. So here's AMD. 204, still red on the day though. I want to short this now. It's a U-shaped breakout potential, but made a little bit this morning already. Market wants to close green for Thanksgiving. Yeah. What do markets typically look like the day before Thanksgiving? I mean, that varies, to be honest. Sometimes we get big volatility depending on what's going on in the market. Other times it's quiet and slow because people are traveling today because they're going you know, out of town to eat. AMD flying back up. Nvidia still pushing up to 177.20s. Nasdaq's creeping back up. What else is moving in microchips? Meta back up a little bit. Meta's doing a V-shaped recovery. Again, Google, AMD. AMD's pushing up a lot too. Microsoft is green. Apple is green. Apple's a little quiet though this morning. TSM up. So you continue to use your levels after first touch. I mean, sometimes, but I do less often. Like, so if we test it once, I don't usually attack the retest. Sometimes I do, but it's less often because sometimes, like, we go up, we tap it, we come back down, and then we push, right? And because of that, I don't really want to target the retest of these levels. I like to target the first test. It's usually a little bit higher odds. With that said, though, guys, remember, I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Always make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. Not an investment professional. But with that said, look at AMD. AMD's trying to go green on the day. I trade futures, stocks mostly. Again, Tesla pushing up. Here's Tesla. Tesla up to 425s right now. Again, so U.S. Agricultural Secretary Rowland says farmers' relief payments should begin in early January. Again, the earlier news is influencing markets, though. NVIDIA's Chinese regulators blocked ByteDance from using NVIDIA chips in new data centers, according to the information. Again, this is what pushed NVIDIA down here. So NVIDIA chips are high demand because they only last between 4 to 6 years before they need to be changed. Maybe. Pre-market pump before unemployment numbers. Yeah. I'm just glad the data is back here. Government was shut down for a while, man. I didn't have anything to cover. But it's back. Meta rejects Italian claims on WhatsApp. AI is unfounded. Oh, I'm glad to be home, man. I like traveling. I like visiting family, and it's fun. We got to do some stuff. Got to hang out. Got to go out. Got to do stuff. But yeah, I'm just glad to be home. Canada is going to limit steel imports and increase lumber support as tariffs continue to have an impact, according to Bloomberg, citing sources. Again, oil still creeping down. Tesla up pretty big. It's at 425s. Gold falling under 41.90s right now. Again, we still got about 35 minutes. 35 minutes. Bitcoin tested 88,000 twice, so that is a bad sign. Yeah, I think a lot of people were talking about 88,000 on Bitcoin as a big support level. I mean, if we look up a longer term chart here, put a 5-minute chart up, 88K would be right here. And so I do see the market respecting 88,000 as a resistance level. And if we put a longer term chart up, put like an hour chart. We did hold some support there historically, but now we're underneath it and we're rejecting. I don't think it means much. I mean, Bitcoin makes big moves up and down. I think Bitcoin holding over 80,000. I think 80,000 looks to be a strong support level for Bitcoin at this point in time. And so we'll see what happens to it, but... And it's down on the day for sure today, but it's still up. I mean, this week's definitely a rebounding week so far. Like, we've rebounded a lot this week. Where I want to put. There we go. Buffet. Which ticker is most relevant to watch while in a trade? The SPY, the NASDAQ. Which trade are you in? It really depends on which trade you're in. You know, like if you're watching tech, if you're in a tech trade, NASDAQ probably. NVIDIA, you know. If you're in, you know, it just depends on what you're in. So Brian. What's up, Steve? Can always count on John for the flashbangs. Hopefully that's good. Top 3 flashbangs ever, whatever that means. Thank you. I appreciate it. Market wants to close green for Thanksgiving. Yeah, maybe we'll start to get a Santa rally. I think that's what a lot of people are saying. Is like maybe we're going to start to see a Santa rally dynamic. I hope so. I really do. Again, the pound erases the drops as Reef speaks, rises 0.1% to 1.3181. Again, like I said, we also had Canada is going to limit steel imports and increase lumber support as tariffs continue. Saudi-Russia business forum is going to take place on December 1st, according to Semaphore. But the Nasdaq's trying to get up here. You know, I'm looking at this 185 level. 185 has held resistance. It's held support over the last few days. I'm looking at 185. I want to see if we can creep up over that, whether it rejects it again or what happens. The last time we tapped it, we rejected it and came right back down to 170, and now we're kind of pushing back up here. But look at Tesla. It's still fighting its way higher at 425.50s. 425.60s is the high of the day. It is getting pretty close to that for Tesla right now. Again, Apple's a little quiet. Meta, red on the day after the chip news negatively impacted it. Again, Google's still up on the day at 328s, 327s. Gold again it's still elevated on the day. It's at 41.90s. Remember, all-time highs in gold are about 4,400, just under 4,400 is the all-time high in gold. But it's at 41.90s right now. Still green on the day. It was at 4,200s earlier. And again, Bitcoin's down on the day, but again, most stuff is up over the last few days. I think bears took profit after the big drop. Yeah, the Fed is out, or the Fed watch tool is down for me. Not working. Hey, John, I agree with the rebound week. I think we kind of needed it. You know, if not, it was looking a little scary. The inter-rally is technically historically after Christmas or New Year's. Sure, 100%. I mean, it happens at different times. But yeah, I know when we usually see it. Usually, honestly, what I've seen a lot happen is that the week of Christmas, right, like the 20th, we start to drop, right? And we have some scary drops leading into the holiday. And then after the holiday, we do a Santa rally. We rebound and start to push back up. And so we do see that a lot. That's true. It was 85% before the website went down. Yeah. Reeves is still speaking. He says we'll assess fiscal rules once a year at budget. Again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. We got 900 people here already. Amount of Bitcoin buyers this last year has broken records for the last 7 years, and XRP is getting both quietly by global getting bought quietly, I'm assuming. I lost $1,500 last week in gold. Tax harvesting. Yeah, tax harvesting can happen at the end of the year. Tax harvesting is essentially when businesses cover their losses to have more losses to reduce their taxable income. And so that happens sometimes at the end of the year, sure. It can certainly happen at the end of the year. 18th of December, Japan will most likely hike rates to expect volatility. Yeah, I mean, yeah, 100%. I agree with that. They get higher. The reason that's might impact markets and cause volatility, I've explained this dynamic before. It's something called the carry trade dynamic, which basically means the Bank of Japan, people use the Japanese yen because of the low interest rate environment in Japan over the last while. They use it to buy up U.S. assets with it, bonds mostly, and then they, get cheap leverage with low interest rates. But because the interest rate dynamic in Japan might be changing and rate hikes are going to matter, and that means raising interest rates, right? Rate hikes mean raising interest rates, that people are going to have less favorable leverage, and they might cover some of their positions. It might cause sell-offs in markets and volatility, just so you understand it. And again, today we got jobless claims at exactly 30 minutes. Durable goods. Jobless claims expected anywhere between 225 and 226,000. Last time was 220,000 expected. It says we also have the good trades balance. It's expected at negative 90 billion today. Durable good orders expected at 0.5% as well. I'm also seeing building permits potentially coming out today, but we'll see. We're supposed to have Chicago PMI at 9:45 and then new home sales at 10 a.m. So we have some stuff to cover today. We'll see if it all moves markets, but we do have some stuff to cover. Market so hot, harvesting might hurt Santa rally. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, the Fed decision in December is looking about 83% likely for a 25 basis point cut. Looking at finance. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Fed decision in January. What do you guys think the Fed's going to do in January? Is the Fed watch tool still down? Yep. Fed watch tool is down. Yeah, I mean, open door is interesting. I don't know how I feel about it. All right, Nasdaq still coming back down here. Didn't get over that 185 level. Nvidia starting to dip a little bit. Look at Bitcoin fall down a little bit as well. Look at that Meta too. Meta down to 630s. We're holding here. Here's the 200 exponential. It could bounce right back up there now though. Yeah, stop spamming though. I'm gonna put you in timeout for 1 minute. You know better, bro. Come on. Who acts like that? Stop it. Did most big players scale down after the summer 2024? I remember the summer 2024 thing. It definitely negatively impacted markets. We kind of rebounded fast from it, but yeah, I remember the summer. That summer. We had some big volatility from that dynamic. 1 minute is way too gracious. Yeah. Yeah, Bitcoin falling down a little bit. You can see it here. 86.5, 87 right now. The VIX. Yeah, I mean, the VIX isn't pumping. The VIX is at 1820s right now. It's still pretty quiet. Realistic. Novo files for FDA approval of one of their bio drugs. China Commerce Minister is speaking right now. He said, should create positive solutions for firms internal negotiations. Hopes the European Union to urge Dutch government to come up with constructive solutions. He said, China Commerce Minister says global chip supply chain still faces uncertainties. Again, China Commerce Minister says global chip supply chains still face uncertainties. Again, he also said that they held a call with the EU Trade Commissioner. Again, I'll put this news up. No, it's all good. As long as you're not a bot, AK, it's all good, dude. All right, look at the markets pushed down here. I don't know if they're reacting to the chip quote from the China Commerce Minister, but they could be. We're still kind of flat right now. And again, we got 25 minutes. 25 minutes before jobless claims. China and European Union agree to urge next period to talk to China. Again, Tesla's up 1.5% today as Musk says Austin robotaxi fleet will grow. Tesla CEO Elon said on X that the Model Y robotaxi fleet in Austin should roughly double in December, bringing it to about 60 vehicles. It's still far below his earlier target of 500 by the end of the year, but still it's something. And again, Tesla is up today. It's at 425s. Right now, 425s. Yeah, I'm looking at IREN. Yeah, and y'all could ask me to look at some stocks. Look, here's a retest of 184s. So here's a retest of 184s, 185s. Look at Nvidia, guys. Look at Nvidia. Looking at microchips, but look at Nvidia pop. Nvidia just went up to almost 177. Nvidia is almost green on the day. It's right below it. Here's the previous closing price for Nvidia. It's at 177.82 specifically. 177.82. We are currently at 177.60. So we're 20 cents, 25 cents, 30 cents away from going green on the day for Nvidia. And again, this is after we had that bad news earlier about essentially like China blocking ByteDance from using Nvidia chips in preference of domestic ones. And so Chinese regulators blocked ByteDance from using Nvidia chips in new data centers, with the move being part of their strategy to force adoption of domestic chips, according to the information. And again, we dropped from that news, but we kind of rebounded back up. Again, look at Nvidia. We're at 177.50s right now. Again, Google's been strong. Think Tesla's overbought or not? Why'd you remove that one, Paul? Oh, yeah, sorry. Just reading it. Trying hard not to force trades. Yeah, that's always good. Yeah, Nvidia over 180's bullish, I think. Yeah, guys, we got jobless claims unemployment in 22 minutes. 22 minutes. I don't trust what the market makers are going to do next. I mean, we're honestly, this is our range right now in the NASDAQ here. That's our range right now in the NASDAQ. So, still pushing up here. Look at that pop. This is Nvidia related, I think. They just got over 187s, 186s. Got up to 190s here. Nvidia having another green candle. Pushing it. Amazon at 230s. And look, we're getting rejected there again at 185s. Nvidia almost green. Look at the previous closing price. It's at 177.80. Very close to green. I don't know if it's a low volume day here. I think we've been moving some. Nvidia testing that previous closing price. The last 10 minutes has just been a little slow, but we're moving for sure in markets. I mean, we're trending. Better than other days I've seen. But Nvidia now technically green on the day. Again, Nvidia is now effectively green on the day as we speak here today. EU's callous as we see zero indication that Russia is ready for a ceasefire. Just look at AMD, guys. AMD's moving up as well. So we rejected that 185 level again. Nvidia went green for just a second, and now it's back red on the day, technically. Bitcoin at 86,500 roughly. Yeah, gold fighting its way back up. Gold's back up to almost 4,200. High, that's all I have. High is good, I guess. Yeah. All right, guys, we'll see what this data shows. Again, jobless claims unemployment, durable good orders dropping in about 20 minutes. We got over 1,000 here already. We appreciate you guys. And yeah, let's see what happens here. Silver. I mean, silver's green on the day too with gold here. Like if you take a look at silver on the top middle chart, that 52.60s. Silver's been pumping up. What's the all-time high for silver? It's like 54. Yeah, so it's close. Look at Bitcoin turned down a little bit as well, but Bitcoin's kind of sideways too. Nvidia making another push. Nvidia now technically green again. And again, jobless claims is relevant just because it's a more real-time look at unemployment. Like, we've had delayed data. We'll see what jobless claims show. But we've had delayed data recently. So jobless claims is a little bit more real look at unemployment, where it's at in this country. And, you know, will help guide the Fed a little bit in terms of where jobs are at. Silver, with that said, is pushing here. Look at silver. Still struggling to get over this 185 level. Bitcoin's pretty flat too. Bitcoin's not really moving much either. You take a look at gold. Gold's back up to almost 4200s. All right, there we go. We're testing that 185 level again here. Nvidia technically green. We're very slightly green on the day though. We're basically flat, but we are technically green on Nvidia now after some scary news came out earlier and dropped it. We basically just got bought right back up. Do you guys think OpenAI will IPO by the end of this year? Probably not, right? People think mid next year is when the IPO is going to be. Maybe a little bit later than that. When do you guys think OpenAI is going to IPO? No IPO this year. Yeah. I mean, if it does well, that could help markets, right? Like, if it does well, that could help markets. I don't think it's going to be this year, though. All right, so, again, we are up on NVIDIA. Look at NVIDIA at 178. It's technically green. Look at the NASDAQ. Follow it. Again, AMD is pushing up to try to go green on the day. We're at 189 on the NASDAQ here. If you take a look at, like, the SPY, the S&P, we're at 677, roughly 677. I mean, I wouldn't say they have no product. I think most general people that aren't like tech savvy use OpenAI a lot. Now, whether they use premium is different. And I think, like, you have to understand the goal of OpenAI is going to be very similar to the goal of search engines, right? How do search engines make money? Well, they make money through targeted ads and data, right? And I think that's how people are going to monetize AI in the future. I mean, people are going to monetize AI in a lot of different ways. We're going to have humanoid robots. We're going to have AI implemented into everything. But again, don't get it twisted. They're going to monetize AI through data. 100%. That's what they're doing. And so you got to look at it kind of like a race to the top, because, you know, that's how they're going to monetize it. It's not going to be subscription. It might be. They might make some money through subscriptions for, like, again, like tech people or programmers or whatever, like, that want really good AI to program or code or whatever. And that's true. But they're going to mostly make their money through data. And so going public might just be a means to grow bigger, and then they can start monetizing the data even, I think. But yeah, we're over 185s. What scary news dropped earlier? So earlier we had news that China blocked ByteDance from using NVIDIA chips in preference of domestic ones. So again, China blocked ByteDance from using NVIDIA chips and basically, you know, made them use domestic chips instead. This is what dropped the NASDAQ, NVIDIA, and all these other tech companies here. So this is where that news came out. We basically got bought right back up, though. This is where it came out. Basically rebounded all the way back up. We're back up over, I think, we're at least around where that news came out. So it got bought up pretty quick. All right, NVIDIA still rising. Microchip still rising. Remember, the Fed ends QT. Yeah, the Fed ends QT in what, 4 days? They ended on December 1st. Yeah, I hope you all take profit, don't get me wrong. Robinhood looking good. JP Morgan believes the S&P could rise to 7,500 by the end of next year and potentially top 8,000 if the Fed cuts rates more aggressively than expected next year. Yeah, and I think the S&P wants 7,000. You know, I think we're so close to this big psychological whole dollar number of 7K, and I think, you know, look, 7,000 is right here. You know, so 7,000 on the S&P, literally right here. We are right here. All-time highs are right here. So I think the S&P NASDAQ wants 7,000. You know, I think they want 7K. I think we're very close to that big psychological level. I think, you know, we continue to see strength. S&P's hitting 7,000. Right? Up, Axel. Bitcoin looks crashy before the data. I mean, not really. Bitcoin is just sideways right now. It dropped a little bit earlier on that news, but it's sideways right now. We'll be careful. Friday could start seeing selling again until data comes out on Monday on retailers at NVIDIA. What data comes out Monday? The only thing we have Monday is manufacturing. The PMI data, the Purchasing Managers Index for manufacturing. It's ISM manufacturing, so it's the bigger one. But yeah, we do have PCE inflation data next week. So next Friday we have PCE inflation. It was pushed back. It was supposed to be today. We were also supposed to be getting Q3 GDP data today, but again, it's not coming out. Instead, we are going to be getting jobless claims, unemployment, and durable good orders. Right, so we're getting those two releases today. We're just not getting GDP and PC data. Yeah, we do not get GDP data coming out today. It is pushed back. It is canceled. We are no longer getting Q3. I think it was second estimate Q3 GDP. I think they're canceling that data release completely. And they're also pushing back PCE inflation to December 5th, which is next Friday. Is it the day before Thanksgiving bullish? I think that's too one-dimensional of a mindset. You know, I don't think any day has to be bullish or bearish. And I think looking at it in that context is generally risky. I think it can be bullish, it can be bearish. I'm sure we've seen a lot of both. Silver and gold popping up a little bit today. And again, hit the live button next to the play button. We got 11 minutes here. Oh, Black Friday sales come out Monday. Yeah, for sure. I'm not a big Black Friday shopper. I don't think I've ever gone Black Friday shopping. Again, ever. You know why? It's because they strategically lower the prices. They strategically raise the prices leading into Black Friday, and then they lower them back to like the normal price they were the whole time before that. And they get everybody like, I'm not gonna go fight people, you know, just to get, you know, 5% off a TV. I'm good. You know what I mean? They got you guys wrapped around their finger, you know. Consumerism. I'm not doing it. I'm not stressed. My knee is too injured to do that right now. You know, if I tried to go Black Friday shopping, I'd come out with 2 bad knees instead of 1. You know, will today's data release have any effect on crypto? Maybe. I mean, it depends on how good or bad these numbers are. We get weak job numbers. That means higher likelihood of easing. Maybe it impacts Bitcoin on the positive side. I don't know. Silver and gold's pushing up. NVIDIA all the way back up to 178.50s right now. So NVIDIA's moving back up. Bitcoin's kind of flat, but it's down on the day. Silver's spiking, 52.8. Gold at almost 4,200s. NASDAQ is crazy. NASDAQ's pumping up here with NVIDIA and other microchip stocks. We're seeing some movement in microchips and others. Okay, so Michael Burry posted just now. He said the NVIDIA memo to its Wall Street sell-side analyst cited me as the first source. I attached the front page of the memo here. Also part of my response addressing the depreciation issue. So if you look at this here, here's Burry coming out. He said, I make no such claim. I made no such claims because no such claim is plausible. NVIDIA is a fabless company that only designs chips. It has very little capital expenditure and very little depreciation. No one cares about NVIDIA's own depreciation. One straw man burnt. The second rebuttal is about NVIDIA's customers using 4 to 6-year-old chips, while another straw man, as the chart I posted above on X, is clearly about 26 and through 28. I'm looking forward because I see the problems that are relevant to investors today. A second straw man burnt. Nevertheless, NVIDIA's claim on the depreciation, useful life, longevity of the chips it has sold is also a prima facie questionable. I will address the first because NVIDIA brought it up. He said, of NVIDIA's two claims that I am wrong, I am addressing in this post. NVIDIA raises a straw man claim that NVIDIA is depreciating PP and E too slow. It addresses the first as a primary criticism. Yes, Michael Burry going at it with NVIDIA. Whose side are you on, NVIDIA's or Burry's? I think that's a real interesting question. Again, jobless claims coming out, expected at 225 for the week. Durable goods coming out, expected at 0.5% gain, 0.5% gain. We will see what we get today. But yeah, we got jobless claims, durable good orders dropping in 7 minutes. 7 minutes here. Chat, be ready. Time for some economic data. Again, 7 minutes. All right, so I'm looking at, he sounds smart, very little capital. They have far too much money, which is the problem. That whose side are you on? People say Burry chat's crap. The other problem is neither. Poll that, neither. Michael Burry sucks. He wants the shorts to print so bad. Right, short trader says company's weak. Adobe, Salesforce, Oracle, all down. Sounds like somebody's mad about a red trade. And the guy has a lot of money, just retire, enjoy life. Why even bother fight against? He's looking for his glory days. He might be right. I don't know, but... Alright, guys. 6 minutes left. Hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're caught up on the stream here. Alright, so now we're holding 185s, a little bit more support. NVIDIA rules. O'Doyle rules. Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of is Billy Madison. Yeah, so ASML Morgan Stanley names its top pick. Not an investment professional. Don't copy me. Six minutes. 25 300s. Yeah, I mean, we're getting close. I mean, we're seeing strength over the last hour or so in markets. Nvidia's up, Nasdaq's up, SPY is up. We're seeing strength. Bitcoin is up a little bit over the last hour. We're heading into this report though, and this report might move things either way. So again, we got jobless claims, unemployment's coming out. Bitcoin holding right around 86,000 support level. And yeah, we have 5 minutes left. Again, put it in 2x speed, hit the live button, do whatever you got to do to stay real time on the stream. We appreciate it. Government's going to be printing. We're going to rally. Maybe. Trying to scare investors. He had called so many market crashes. Yeah, for sure. All right, Nasdaq bounced at 185, continuing up here. Here's 25 200s right here. I think that we keep climbing back higher here ahead of this report. They get 4 minutes left, chat. 4 minutes. Employment going to crash it or not? I mean, I don't think it's going to crash it. Do we want an extremely bad jobs report? If you want rate cuts, maybe. You know, I don't think that's necessarily good. And again, the Fed watch tool is still down here, so we'll watch yields on this report. Fed watch tool still down. Let me know if it's down for you guys. I know a couple people confirmed it was down for them as well. Come on, Fed watch tool. What's going on over here? Yeah, we want a bad jobs report. Up and down because they're going to dump later. Yeah, maybe. All right, guys. Hey, we got 3.5 minutes. 3.5 minutes. Put it in 2x speed. And you'll catch up. Hit the live button. What about today? Will gold touch 4250s? Maybe. Possibly. All right, so again, continuing claims last time, just to recap all this stuff. Continuing claims, initial claims expected at roughly 220,000 or 225,000. Last time we were 220. Continuing claims last time should have been 1.974 thousand. 1.974 thousand. Or 1.974 million. I mean. All right, here we go. We have 2 minutes left, roughly. 2 minutes left. Fed watch has acted weird. How many contracts? Man. Still not loading. Jobless claims will be high. AI big tech is a Ponzi scheme. Maybe. Not financial advice. Yeah, what's up, Kentucky Blue? $280,000 jobless claims? I don't think so. I don't know what the market would. I think the market would probably go down on that report. Gold's over 4,200 here. Yeah, so gold over 4,200. Again, we got jobless claims, unemployment at 830 here. We're ready. All right, guys, we got 1.5 minutes, roughly 1 minute. Again, put it in 2x speed. Hit the live button next to the play button. Catch up to the stream. We appreciate it. We got about 1 minute left. A little bit over 1 minute. All right. Here we go. About 1 minute left. Jobless claims expected. Again, 226,000, 225,000. Gold's pushing up. Nvidia started to dip a little bit ahead of this report. Jobs data is going to come in flat and market's going to pump. Maybe. Maybe. Finger on the sell button. Yeah, let's see. All right, guys, here we go. Again, we also have durable goods expected at 0.5%. Durable goods is relevant. Expected at 0.5%. Do durable goods shows. We got 30 seconds. Again, put it in 2x speed. The timer's a little bit early, so we got to wait on this. Put it in 2x speed. Hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're caught up to the stream here. 20 seconds, guys, 20 seconds. Nvidia's dipped out over the last 3 or 4 minutes. Fed watch tool is actually down. We'll see what yields do from this report. Again, jobless claims expected at 225K roughly. Durable goods expected at 0.5. All right, guys, here we go. Report's coming out very soon. Very soon. And here's the report right now. Okay, durable goods orders came in as expected at 0.5%. Jobless claims 216,000. Lower than expected jobless claims at 216,000. Previous was revised to 222,000. So again, 216,000 for jobless claims. The previous one was revised to 222,000, so raised a little bit. Durable goods came in mostly flat here. And continuing claims showed up at 1.96 million. 1.96 million versus previous of 1.974 million. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens now. Again, 216K versus previous of 225K. Market is basically unmoved on this report. Bitcoin's coming down, though. I think Bitcoin is going to drop on this report potentially just because of less likelihood of easing with stronger job numbers and less people filing for unemployment. So less people filing for unemployment and stronger jobs numbers makes Bitcoin easing, less likely here. Nasdaq's starting to fall down. I want to see what yields are going to do on this report. And again, we don't really have... Yields are almost at 4% right now. We don't really have the Fed watch tool to look at, but Bitcoin is falling down. The Nasdaq is getting a little bit of a delayed response. So here's the Nasdaq drop here. Remember, I covered this before everybody else. You're welcome. But again, look at yields. Yields are at 4.08% right now. 4.08%. Yields are spiking up a little bit as they should on this report. They were almost at... Prior to this report, they did tap under 4% for a split second here for yields if you look at this. So... Again, this is stronger jobs, less people filing for unemployment, stronger jobs. Yields did break underneath 4% right here for a little while. And it's not really having that much influence over markets, but Bitcoin definitely not reacting well to this. Bitcoin's dropping. Again, it means less likelihood of easing. Stronger jobs numbers means we don't have to cut rates as much, less of a justification in easing. And again, durable goods showed up at... Durable goods excluding defense numbers for September showed up at 0.1%, 0.1%. They expected 1.9%, and previously they were 1.9%. So those numbers did decrease a lot. Again, jobless claims 216. Everyone is working, but prices are high. Yeah, I mean, we're dropping a little bit. Bitcoin's dropping. Bitcoin's probably having the biggest reaction. It's because, again, like the dynamic there is Bitcoin wants easing. Again, market wants easing. This. You don't cover it before everybody, but you're definitely top three. Definitely top three. Yeah, so again, we had lower than expected jobless claims, less people filing for unemployment. What we're seeing, though, is we're seeing the market react negatively to this. Means, again, I think the market and Bitcoin want rate cuts, and this data shows less of a need to cut rates. Stronger jobs numbers. Reports don't mean anything until Wall Street volumes return next week. Maybe. You're right on point indeed. Markets aren't crashing for sure. Bitcoin's down though. Nasdaq's falling down on this report. Again, I think the market wants rate cuts, and I think this means we don't need to cut rates as much. Somebody asked Grok, what does it mean? We don't get rate cuts. I'm going to respond like I'm Grok, but I'm going to tell them I'm not Grok. It just means less people filed for unemployment week to week. It's less favorable for rate cuts, essentially. In parentheses, I'm not Grok. Top 3 Groks in the world right now. Again, U.S. jobless claims fell 216 for the week ending November 22nd, below expectations at 225 and down from 222. The previous week was revised higher, though. So previously we showed up at 220,000, right? They revised that number to 222,000, so they revised it up 2,000. So 2,000 more unemployment filings the previous week is what we saw in the revision here. Again, treasury yields are moving higher on this. The president just tweeted here. Again, durable good orders beat expectations, 0.5%. I don't know. I saw it expected at 0.5%. And excluding defense, it only showed up at plus 0.1% for durable goods when they expected like 1.9% or something like that. So I don't know if the durable goods were necessarily good. The 4-week average for jobless claims is now 223.75 thousand. John Grok is 5'8". Definitely 5'8". That's true. You know, I'm gonna talk to you guys like I'm Chat GPT. You tell me something, I'm just gonna agree with it. Yep, that's true. John, you're gonna win the lottery next week. That's definitely true. You know, look at the Nasdaq. Nasdaq popping up here. Nvidia rising up with 179s. Again, AMD up to 207s here. 207s. We won't have accurate government data until at least January. It depends on which one. You know, you got to think about it. Like, this is from the week ending November 22nd. The government was open then. You know, so some of the economic data certainly is going to be inaccurate, but jobless claims not necessarily. Yeah, I think the CME watch tool is still down. It was down for me. Oh wait, now it's just pretending to load here. Look, this is what mine shows right now. Again, we also have Chicago PMI a little bit later. We'll see what that looks like. Oh, look, there it is. 85%. Took a little while to load. 85% versus 15%. So, again, a rate cut is 85% likely versus 15% likely. Bitcoin rising back up here. Look at these moves. I don't see any breaking news either that might influence this. I see UK's Chancellor Reeve says 150 cut from average household energy bill from April. She said keeping promise to keep energy bills down will extend the freeze on fuel duties rise until September 26th. Again, insured unemployment rate is unchanged at 1.3%. Look at AMD. These are mostly microchip rises here, guys, but Bitcoin is popping all the way back up to 86.8 thousand. Yeah, the report's out. Let me put it at the bottom of the screen. My bad, guys. Again, make sure you give me a follow on Twitter. At Beginner Trades is where we cover all this stuff. Here, so it is now scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Actually, whoa. Again, durable goods, 0.5%. As expected. All right, there you go. It's now scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Bitcoin all the way back up to almost 87s here. Nasdaq's still been a big range, like a larger range, but still flat. Yeah, I mean, I see the China news, but this China news, again, you might be delayed on the stream, actually. GG. Hit the live button next to the play button, brother. You might be delayed on the stream if you don't have jobless claims yet. We covered this, when it came out 10 minutes ago. But I also see, look, some news that came out about 3 hours ago, 2 hours ago, maybe, is that China is reportedly banning ByteDance from using NVIDIA chips in their new data centers. They've reportedly barred ByteDance, the owner of TikTok, from using NVIDIA chips in new data centers, according to the information. It comes after they bought more NVIDIA chips than any other Chinese company in 2025. It reflects Beijing's push to reduce reliance on U.S. tech amid tightening U.S. export restrictions. But this news came out earlier. This is actually what dropped the market here. So this news impacted markets a lot. But this is what dropped the market here. Since then, though, we kind of just got bought right back up in microchips, and now we're back up to essentially where we were. We're kind of flat from that report, but it took us a little while to rebound back up here. So that's essentially what's going on. Dude, who called it a crash? I don't know if I might have said crashing down, but you're just taking it out of context. It's all right. Be mad. Listen, let it out, man. It's okay. You might be struggling, and that's all right. You know, let it out, man. All right. Don't hold it in. It's unhealthy, brother. It really is. I mean, you'll get banned forever, but don't let it out, man. Bullish for crypto. Yeah, I mean, look at crypto rise here. Crypto up to almost 87,000. 87,000. Is Bitcoin off the screen? Oh, yeah, it's popping up. Look, 87,000 for Bitcoin, rising big. Yeah, I'm looking at the Fed watch tool. Bitcoin up to 87,000. Trying to see if there's news. Yeah, UK plans 303.7 billion of gilt sales this fiscal year. Estimated was 308.1. Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any reason Bitcoin's rising. Give me a second. Let me look. Yeah, I don't really see any news. I don't know my sources. Bitcoin's up to 87,000 though. Look at it. Over 87,000 now. I mean, Bitcoin's still red on the day, just to put this into perspective. But this rebound is good for it. You know, again, we started the day here, right around 87,500. So we're getting back over 87 is a good sign for Bitcoin for sure. Yeah, I saw the JP Morgan filing to launch a Bitcoin-backed bond, but this came out much earlier today, to be honest. Bitcoin dominance dropping, USD dominance dropping. McRib is back. Bitcoin rises. That's definitely true. You know, definitely true. I'm just joking for liability reasons, but that's definitely true. Yeah, no, the Bitcoin bond news with JP Morgan came out when I first got up at like 6 a.m. this morning. It was already out. So Nasdaq's coming back down a little bit. We're at 25,174s. You look at Tether dominance chart. McRib liquidity cycle's real. I was never a big McRib guy, you know? Like, listen, I like a rib sandwich more than anybody. But, like, it's hard to get me to go to McDonald's, genuinely. You know? Only thing I might go to McDonald's for is breakfast. But again, today we still got Chicago PMI new home sales and more. Yeah, I'm looking at yields, right? I've already looked at yields. Yields are up on this report. It's not that they don't like yields have bounced from this report. And that makes sense, right? Like in terms of what makes sense, right? Here's 10-year treasuries. Treasuries are going to go up. Yields are going to increase as we get a higher interest rate sentiment, right? Yields and interest rates correlate with each other. So if we get a higher interest rate sentiment, yields spike, right? What makes us get a higher interest rate sentiment? Stronger jobs numbers. Why? Because stronger jobs numbers means we have less need to cut rates, right? We have more justification to keep rates steady or raise them. I mean, we're still probably not going to keep them steady or raise them, but we have less justification for it to cut rates. And so where do yields go with stronger job numbers? They go up because interest rate sentiment is higher. If we had really weak labor numbers, that meant, you know, we had more of a green light to cut rates. What do we have? We have lower interest rate sentiment. Yields are going to fall. Bond prices are going to go up. And so I hope all that makes sense. That's why we see yields coming up. They're at 4.023% right now, 4.023%. Do you think we get a Santa rally this year? Maybe. I hope so. I like Santa rallies. I mean, we can look at the data in the folder, but most of you guys aren't going to really Yeah. We've already covered most of this, actually. You get 1.96 million continuing claims, people that are already filed for initial unemployment and, you know, are continuing with it, and then initial claims again 216. Again, we already talked about the previous one, revised up by 2,000 from 220 to 222,000. So we mostly covered everything in that report already. Again, NASDAQ back up, but we're sideways here. NVIDIA is still pumping up over 180s. It's at 180.55s right now. 180.55s. I didn't call you dumb. I mean, y'all are the top 3 dumbest ever, but I didn't call you dumb. All right. I just did, but the time before that I did not. But no, there's nothing in that report really that I didn't cover already. And so, yeah. I'm definitely biased, you know. And again, if you want to check out Top Step, great way to help support the channel. No PDT rule in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, gold, commodities. If you want to learn to day trade, most day traders lose money. Doesn't matter what course you take, who you follow, you're probably going to lose day trading. This is just objectively true. And so why fund your own account thousands of dollars? Instead, try Top Step. $50 a month for the base one. You pass it, you get a 50K funded account, 90% split, you fail it, you know, you lose roughly 50 bucks. It's not the end of the world. They recently reduced their activation fee overall to $129, as well as they gave you an option with no activation fee as well. Great way to learn. You should check it out. It's a great way to learn. And again, I'll put this link up if you want to help support the channel. Again, great way to learn. Most day traders lose. Again, so I lost thousands of dollars when I first got started here. So let me get you guys the link. I'll pin it to the top of the chat. Make sure this is the working link here. Yeah, there it is. All right. Yeah, so if you want to check it out, they're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased, but there's the link right there. Great way to help support the channel. I appreciate it. I'll pin this to the top of the chat. Yeah, the Fed Watch tool is up. Again, I'm showing 85%. Yeah, a little bit over 85% now. So the Fed Watch tool is finally back up. 85% yields. Rate cut odds actually increased a little bit. Yeah, MicroStrategy's been a struggle. I'm a little touchy. I mean, I'm the touchiest ever. Hopefully you guys understand my sarcastic humor here, though. You know? Some of you guys know. Smart ones know it's sarcasm. Yeah. 82% right now? Is it really? It is. So again, yeah, and this makes sense, right? A little bit less likelihood that we're going to cut rates based off the jobless claims data. We're now at 82.9%, 17.1% chance of a pause. MicroStrategy. MicroStrategies have a tough time. Michael Saylor's been tweeting lately. But just in September, MicroStrategy has gone from 360 down to 172. That's a big drop percentage-wise. I mean, Bitcoin's down big, so it makes sense. But touchy but biased. Yeah, MicroStrategy, tough time. Again, AMD, NVIDIA, up to 181s right now. Look at AMD and NVIDIA move here. Again, we're trending. China is going to tighten regulation of online corporate information. Again, durable goods came in at 0.5%. Jobless claims came in lower than expected, showing less people filing for unemployment than expected here. I've already answered, do I think there's a Santa rally this year? I hope so. I don't know if there's going to be. And again, look at AMD here. Look at AMD. AMD up to 212s. QE and cut rates makes complete sense to inject the economy with full force. I don't know. Do you guys think we're going to full-blown, like, print with QE? When do you guys think the Fed's going to do QE again? Let me know the month. Let me know the month. I hope we don't do it this year. You know? They would have to announce it in like the December meeting. I don't think they're going to, but they could. Hopefully they keep the balance sheet the same size versus expanding it through money printing. December 1st, they're ending QT, right? There's a difference between ending QT and kickstarting the money printer, though. You know, they could keep the balance sheet the same size, and that would involve like letting current bond holdings mature and run off, and then just replacing them with fresh ones, effectively keeping the balance sheet the same size, if that makes sense. It doesn't necessarily mean they could, right? It doesn't mean they're not going to either. They could start printing and expanding the balance sheet through money printing, but I hope they don't. You know, I think cutting rates but not doing QE is a good balance. Right, cut rates, don't inject, and keep the balance sheet the same size. Don't spike inflation like that. You know, I know crypto guys, and I'm in Bitcoin. I want it to go up. I know y'all want QE, and maybe it needs it right now, to be honest. But we'll see what happens. All right, guys, look at this pop. Look at AMD. AMD up to 212s right now. Yeah, and again, quantitative easing, for those that might not understand, is just when the Fed creates online money, essentially, and then uses that money to buy up bonds and expand their balance sheet. It's called quantitative easing. They typically do this in more desperate, like dire situations, like they did it in 2020, they did it in 2008, they did it at other times too. But generally speaking, it can cause inflation spikes, so they try to reserve it for a little bit more dire thing. It can bring interest rates down a little bit faster, but it can also complicate the inflation situation, if that makes sense, right? And they've been doing quantitative tightening since inflation spiked in 2022 and 2023. They've been basically reducing their balance sheet since then, and they're finally ending that reduction of their balance sheet on December 1st in 4 days. So that is basically what it is. Quantitative tightening is just when they reduce the size of their balance sheet. They're not directly selling, like they're not just selling bonds off. They're letting their current holdings mature, basically expire, and fall off their balance sheet that way, and it's reducing the size. That's what they've been doing, at least. But again, that dynamic is ending December 1st. Why is Google dropping? Well, I'm seeing a lot of stuff come back down. Oh, yeah. What is going on? Yeah, Google coming down a little bit here. Google's up a lot though, so I mean Google probably should correct a little bit for healthy reasons. But Google's been dropping dramatically here. If you look at Google, Nvidia's up, Google down this morning. Down 320, still up a lot though for Google. That's still the most likely thing. what goes up has to come back down, relax. No, that's not necessarily true, especially in stocks. Sometimes what comes up never comes back down again. Not never comes back down, but never comes back down to that price again. An example, here's an example, right? Here's the SPY, right? Let's go all the way back to 2004. 2003, the SPY was at $79. From 2003, the SPY went from $79 all the way to where it is now at 600 something. You know, will it ever come back down again to that level? Probably not. Probably not. Out, you know, barring like a really bad, you know, market crash. But we're probably never going to see $79 for the SPY again. And so long term, what goes up certainly does not have to come back down, especially if we're talking equities. And I think that's the big mistake with a lot of the time when people short stuff, right? Like they say, oh, this thing is up so much, it has to come back down. Not necessarily. Sometimes we correct a little bit, even with Google, Alphabet. Do you guys think Google will ever hit $80 a share? Probably not. So it doesn't necessarily have to come back down. When we're talking equities, I mean, it came back down a little bit just from exhaustion, but yeah. No, it's all good. Listen, I'm just explaining this. I think people get a little overzealous with shorts sometimes. And I've said it once, I'll say it again. I'll probably say this every day. But the longer you hold a short position in equities, if we're talking blue chips or indexes, the less likely you are to make money in it the longer you hold that position most of the time, right? Because over time, S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, they're going to gain about 8 to 10% a year. And over time, they're just going to, you know... And so the longer you hold those short positions, and I'm talking years, I'm not talking about like if you think the market's going to crash in the next week or whatever. But the longer you hold it, the less likely, the less favorable the position comes for you. Same thing, the opposite is true with longs, right? The longer you hold a long position in those things, the more likely you are to make money because the biggest statistical edge over time is that the market's going to go up. But for some reason, people always try to short the healthiest companies in the world. I'm not saying Burry's wrong. I'm just saying I'm not doing it. I'm not. He's got more money than me. He'll slap me with his wallet, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen. All I said is that it's not necessarily true. And again, if the SPY does drop to $79, we got big problems. Of course, we got huge problems if the SPY drops to $79. And I'll put it this way, all right? And this might ruffle some feathers, and you'll be all right. But generally speaking, every single week, somebody's predicting a market crash. We could be in the biggest bull run of the century, somebody's predicting a crash. We could be in the biggest bear run of the century, somebody's predicting a crash, right? And so a lot of people just over-predict crashes, you know? And a lot of people here have been saying the market's going to crash every week for the last 4 or 5 years. And so, you know, question is, if we finally crash, are they correct? I would say no, because we're still probably above where they were originally called to crash in the first place. And so, yeah. Anyways, Nvidia up to 181.50. European lawmakers propose a ban on social media for anyone under 16. Yeah, how many times have people predicted the end of the world over the last century? Really, look at the last 250 years. Everybody thinks their situation. What happens over time is that things become... I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. Things become more liberal over time, right? How do we know this? We know this because if you look back at what people were wearing 150 years ago, and then you fast forward to today, there's wild differences there. There's wild differences, right? And so when people experience that and they go from one end of the spectrum to the other, they're like, oh man, this has got to be the end of the world, right? And so they wildly overpredict the end of the world, and usually they're just wrong. Usually they're just wrong. Everybody thinks it's their instance of it. Usually they're wrong, you know? Listen, I lived through Y2K, you know? Y2K, they basically said the computers were going to go crazy. And, you know, didn't happen. We're still here. Already predicted one of the last 13 crashes. Yeah. Murray is going to make $38 million a year on his blog subscription. Bro, I need to pump a blog subscription out, dude. Give me the best name you got for my blog subscription service. Top 3 blogs. Play the game. Misdirection is normal. Who doesn't want to crash on their watch? Honestly, I say this, but honestly, my views are generally much better when the market's dumping, when it's on fire. My views are usually much better. And so. All right, NASDAQ coming all the way back down here. Look at the market drop. Again, this is Google falling down to 319s here, dragging everything else down with it. AMD's pumping, though. AMD's up to 212, Nvidia's up to 181s. Bitcoin is coming back down under 87,000 here. Google down at 319s. Nvidia even dipping down now as well here. I'm gonna check to see if we got anything. Really need breaking news at this point. Good news today. I mean, we were up earlier. I mean, Nvidia went green for a little while and still green, I guess. But we're getting contradictory moves from big names in tech. All right, guys, you ready to day trade? We're gonna day trade live. We got into one day trade today. Got into one day trade today. We are gonna day trade again this morning. Bro, we are crashing for the last 5 years. 80% of the S&P is already down 50 to 60%. Only the AI stocks were going up in the last 3 years. We're already in a depression for the last years already. No, I don't think so. I mean, I think, yeah, I think your argument is if you take the strongest companies in the world out of the equation, we're effectively crashing. But wouldn't that be universally true? I mean, I'm sure we have a little bit more tech. I'm sure markets are a little bit more tech-centered now than they were historically. But I think that just makes sense because technology is enwrapping everything in a more profound way now. We're definitely not in a depression, you know. I think we're just seeing changes in technology. Again, I'll say it again. when the automobile came out, people who created carriages were probably stressed. You know, people who bred horses were probably upset when the automobile came out, right? But in hindsight, that's the next big technology evolution. And I think we're seeing that now with AI. I think we saw it in 2000 with the dot-com crash, but the internet was the next big thing as well. So we're dropping from Google right now mostly. Google's down 318s, corrected from 330s a couple, an hour or two ago. So yeah, all good. It's all good. You could have your opinion. I might disagree, but it's all love, man. It's all good. All right, guys, we got 23 minutes into the market opens. Let's see what we get today. We got a couple good day trades in there. In a depression, you have high stocks, bubbles, recessions. I mean, listen, I'm not even disagreeing with you that we're in a bubble. I think we could be. It doesn't mean we're going to crash this year. We might crash in 3-4 years from it. Just like in 1997, we had Alan Greenspan with the irrational exuberance speech, and then we didn't crash for 3 years. And so I certainly think you could argue we have some irrational exuberance in the context of the AI tech revolution. But it doesn't mean we have to crash. AI could catch up to the valuations, or we might not crash for a few years at least, right? So timing is the hard thing in markets. It's not necessarily making predictions, it's timing those predictions correctly. And that's a much harder thing to do, Again, ask Michael Burry. Which way do we go at the opening bell? Let me do a poll here. Are you bullish or bearish for today's opening bell? Bull. Bear. Nvidia circular revenue, nobody actually pays. How can it not be a bubble? No, I agree. I think the circular revenue thing is sketchy, 100%. But again, you got to think about it. Like, how are they going to monetize AI in the future? Personally, I think they're going to do it through data, very similar to how they do with search engines and social media. They're going to do it through data, and I think we're going to see that become more profound over time. All right, we got 54% bulls, 46% bears now. China Z extends condolences on deaths at Hong Kong residential block fire. IMF on India says if tariffs persist at current levels, there would likely be scope for further monetary easing and benign inflation dynamics. All right, guys, we got the opening bell coming soon in 20 minutes. 20 minutes. We have new home sales today, I think, coming out as well. Can we trade Friday? Yeah, Friday's open. I think it might be a half day. Did we get jobless claims already? It might be scrolling at the bottom of the screen. I'm not saying it is in big yellow letters scrolling at the bottom of the screen today. All right, so Bitcoin up to roughly 87,000 and it's now sideways. Nvidia green on the day at 181. Google fell down a little bit, kind of dragging markets down. But yeah. Looking at our poll, we asked people, are you bullish or bearish for today's opening bell? 60% are bullish, 40% are bearish. Hey, all good, Kentucky. Appreciate it. All right, guys. Meta? I'm in meta, but I took some profit in earlier, as I probably should have. Half day Friday. Why is gold dumping down? I think, I don't know. A lot of stuff's just filling the gap. Gold's kind of trending with regular markets right now if we take a look at it. Again, Google fell down a lot this morning, but Nvidia's still green and had a big rebound. Here's the NASDAQ push back up here. Bitcoin over 87,000 again. Yeah, half day Friday. Yeah, that's what I expected it. Yeah, I mean, lower likelihood. A little bit less likelihood for a Fed rate cut, but still pretty probable we're going to cut rates. I would say it's the greatest thumbnail of ever, of all time, all time, I guess. I just wanted to show you guys how smart I was, you know. I got a big brain, and so we needed to make my head a little bit larger, you know, to really reinforce that. The NASDAQ's pushing up. Bitcoin's pushing up right now, guys. Again, the IMF says downside risk to the economy could come from deepening geopolitical fragmentation, unpredictable weather shocks. Achievement of the fiscal deficit target will require strong spending discipline. Inclusion of new trade agreements and faster implementation of structural reform domestically could boost the economy. Tax reform and reduction in the effective rate are expected to help cushion the adverse impacts of tariffs. Tariff relief measures should be targeted, transparent, and time-bound. Pace of fiscal consolidation in fiscal year of 26 and 27 should be conditional on the impact of tariffs on the output gap. If tariffs persist at current levels, there would be likely scope for further monetary easing and benign inflation dynamics. Yeah, Bitcoin rising here, guys. Bitcoin rising. Opening bell's coming pretty soon. Yeah, Bitcoin needs to rise. It's been a tough time for Bitcoin, but it's up a little bit. I mean, it's down on the day still, technically. Bitcoin closed the day yesterday at about, what, 87.5s? So, I mean, we're getting close to green on the day. We're getting pretty close for Bitcoin. We're going to front run the rate cut, fuel the shorts as they watch. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, some channels just tell you the market's going to crash every other day. You know? Again, the reason they do that is because more people click. Right, like I said, my channel tends to get better views when markets are chaotic. And so what do you see some of these big channels tell you in every video? The market's chaotic. Market can be the flattest ever, but they're going to act like it's crazy. I can't even judge them too much for it. But still. A little bit, Matt. Well, I mean, Alphabet's down. Other microchips are competitors in some contexts, and so that's kind of what we're seeing. It's competition dynamics in microchips. And Nvidia opened up pretty red today. It's now up to 181s though, green effectively. Bitcoin is getting close to green on the day too. Asset taking the betting lead on replacing Powell. Yeah, I mean, I think that's dovish, of course. Markets are going to interpret that as dovish. He's pretty dovish. So. Yeah, I mean, I think he's pretty dovish. I get more views probably from crashes. Video coming out the penalty box today. Probably last chance ever to get it at 170s. Was the data bullish? The data was strong for jobs. Yeah, NASDAQ back over 25,000, starting to push. A little bit slower now, but I'm looking up news. Meta at 633s. 1,000-1 on John being Fed chairman? Bro, make me Fed chairman. Ugh. I'd wear red and green ties all the time. And that I promise you guys, you know. Yeah, gold. I mean, NASDAQ back up. Gold's still dipping down. Bitcoin's pushing up, though. Again, we got 11 minutes into the market open. Let's see what we get today. We've been making big moves at the open. Except for yesterday. Wasn't yesterday a little slow at the opening bell? I'm trying to remember. Alright, so Bitcoin is now a strong buy as its price disconnects from fundamentals according to K33 research. I don't know if Microsoft necessarily has news. We've just seen a lot of pushes up in microchip stocks and some down. Yeah, we're just seeing microchip stocks, AMD, Microsoft, Nvidia rise. Yeah, look at Nvidia. Nvidia was way down here at 175. It's now at 181s this morning. So a lot of this stuff has made big rebounds here. Google's down a little bit, but I'm definitely happy to be home. Yeah, for sure. Get the Jackson Hole. Yeah. Go skiing. The cost of a 5-year put option protecting against at least a 55% drop in the S&P has risen 46 basis points, the highest since April sell-off. Excluding April, this is the highest level in at least 2 years. Gonna be choppy day. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people might be traveling today, to be honest here. I was surprised we had 2,000 people here for jobless claims, because I think a lot of people are gonna be traveling. And so, hey, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Maybe some of you guys are watching from your car. If you are, it's the top 3 car ever. Yeah, yesterday was kind of flat at the open. All right, guys. Get NASDAQ up to 25,200s here. NVIDIA's kind of flat. We'll see if we wake up at the open. Again, the big push down has been Google dropped on some news. AMD's ripping up, NVIDIA's pushing up. We had news that ByteDance was blocked from buying NVIDIA chips or using NVIDIA chips in its data centers. They're the owner of TikTok. They were blocked from using NVIDIA chips by China in preference of domestic chips. That news came out like 3 hours ago, 2.5 hours ago. We did get a big negative reaction. Like, you can kind of just see the NASDAQ's drop here. This news, again, I've covered this a bunch, but this news came out here. But again, we just kind of got balled up, and now we're rising back up here. V-shaped recovery from that news. So JP Morgan launching commercialized Bitcoin. Yeah, they're thinking about doing a Bitcoin bond. I don't think this is a legit number reflective of the job market unless they're just not counting this. It dropped off. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. The ADP numbers were bad. So we had private payroll data come out Tuesday. Again, those numbers showed up at negative 13,500, if I remember correctly. It was negative 13.5K. Not good at all. Not good at all yesterday. And I would argue that the ADP numbers have been historically more accurate than the actual government entities numbers. And so, again, let me know if you agree with that. ADP numbers showed negative 13,500 jobs a week decline. And this was a weekly decline. So, we're all here for your analysis, not the news. I mean, I think some people are here for the news, but I appreciate it. I think it was a supportive comment, so I appreciate it. Let me know if you're here for the news. It's competition dynamics 404, so it's just competition dynamics, brother. I am both news and analysis. Top 3 analyses in the world right now. For market moves, as John is on, I tune in. Here for the whole show. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we're pushing up on the NASDAQ right now. This Google bouncing back a little bit, the 321s or so. So an interesting market right now. We've had choppiness over the last hour or two. But the range is widening, if that makes sense. So we'll see what we get. Hey, thank you, Monty. Get it. My face slaps. I think that's good, right? Definitely slapping the biggest top 3 slapping face in the world right now. Your levels are good. We're talking about CPI. I'm on it. Oh, you know. Some people don't know about my win streak in CPI, dude. I had like 80% accuracy with predicting CPI correctly out of like 8 or 9 reports. It was something wild like that. I haven't really been doing it as much lately, but yeah, proud of myself. Somehow I got them right. I was just straight up guessing. But sometimes, you know, that's how the cookie crumbles. Yeah, I know what you mean. I understood it. I'm just, you know. All right, Microsoft popping back up here a little bit. Google at 320s right now. Yeah, be smart today. We'll see what the market open brings us. It could be big and volatile. It could be completely flat and a lot of fake outs, so just be careful. Yeah, either of those things is possible. Are you back doing jiu-jitsu yet? No, not really. I'm gonna let my knee, like, I could probably go back. Really, I haven't done PT the last week because I've been traveling, so I need to get back in PT and see if I get the green light from them, to be honest. But not yet. I just want to make sure I'm good before I go back. I don't want to be skittish, you know. I'd rather just make sure I'm good. Again, looking at our poll, 66% are bullish today at the opening bell, 34% are bearish. Vote on the poll if you haven't already. We appreciate it. Yeah, Tesla's not big today on Robotaxi news, if I remember correctly. Oracle, Deutsche reiterated a buy on Oracle, says bear case looks bullish. Deutsche reaffirmed his buy rating and 375 price target on Oracle. Analyst Brad Zelnick says recent stock weakness and concerns about AI capacity, especially around OpenAI, are overstated. Shows that excluding OpenAI related revenue, Oracle's fiscal year 30 EPS would fall only from 21 to about 17, and free cash flow from 41 to 31 billion based on today's 200 share price. He argues that the market has given Oracle little credit for its OpenAI business, so he's optimistic and bullish. Oracle's had a downturn, huh? Oracle's up pretty big today, though. It's at 210s, but it was at 190s. Still down a lot from 345, where it was in September. But what's up, Chef? I'm good, man. This past Monday? No, that's not me, Move. Maybe last. It wasn't last Monday. I think I was on last Thursday. I'll have to look. Yeah, I bought Home Depot on the dip. Macy's. My wife's at physical therapy for her knee right now. You got too dressed up for it? I don't know, bro. I don't get dressed up for PT. I put on t-shirts and a short. And shorts. And a short. Can you use short singular? Nasdaq's pushing up. We're at 25,220. 25,225 right now. Nvidia pushing up to 182s. Yeah, look at this push. Heading into the opening bell here, which is very soon. Look at this rip up in markets here. 25,229 here. All right, guys, we got 30 seconds here. 30 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. We'll see what we get today at the opening bell. We'll see what it brings. Sold off due to the rumor that rate cuts won't help the jobs market. Market sold off. I mean, it depends on when we're talking about the sell-off. You know, market sold off earlier because ByteDance, which is the owner of TikTok, was blocked from using U.S. domestic chips, NVIDIA chips, for their data centers by China. We got bought right back up here, but yeah, that's what happened. Market's about to open up right now in about 5 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. Here's the opening bell. Yeah, we got Chicago PMI and new home sales. Yep. This song is called IWLY. IWLY. All right, guys, NVIDIA dipping a little bit at the opening bell. Bitcoin at 87.3. 87.3. Google at 321s right now. Microsoft falling down a little bit. Oracle falling down a little bit. AMD falling down a little bit, but doesn't mean anything yet. This is the first minute after the opening bell. We'll see what we get. JP Morgan is now bullish on 2026, according to one of their members. No, we don't have personal income at 10. That data was delayed, Michael. So again, PCE was delayed. Personal income was delayed, I think. Or no, we got personal income and personal spending, but we don't have PCE anymore. So I think we still have personal income spending, but we don't have PCE. GDP and PCE was pushed back. The next PCE report is on December 5th now. Next Friday, basically, is when it is. GDP quarter 3 second revision data is canceled now. We're not getting that at all. Alright, so we went right up to this level at 250 here. Right up to this 250 level. And then pushed right back down. Google's rebounding, and so is Nvidia simultaneously. They're not big moves, but we're seeing some bullish movement in some of these stocks a couple minutes into the opening bell here. Google's trying to go green on the day. Previous close is right around 324 or so. Gotta stretch out a little bit here. Yeah, PCE is next Friday, yes. But we were supposed to get PCE today at 10 and GDP at 8:30 today. Both of those were pushed back. PCE is now rescheduled for next Friday. All right, guys. Microsoft at 483s. You get Google at 322s here. I kind of want to buy this dip, but it's still a little bit too early for me here, guys. Let's see if I should have bought the dip. We got Chicago PMI at 945. Google now technically green on the day. Nvidia is incredibly flat here. So, yeah, we'll see. I should have bought the dip, guys. I should have bought the dip. Nvidia up to 183s here. We're seeing some rebounds in tech. I need a haircut. That's all right. All right, Google rejecting now technically red on the day again. Microsoft's corrected a lot at the opening bell, so is Oracle. Meta's back to green on the day. All right, Bitcoin's fallen down to 87,000. Let's see if 87K supports it here. I don't want to buy it right now. What time is it? Okay, I can buy this. We're going to add down to maybe 220 if we get some as well. We already got a cushion in this account on the day. We're green. Here we go. We're going to take half off there just because we can. Look at this rebound here. To cut it right there. We're up like 50 ticks here just real quick. We'll see what we would do on the rest. Just scalp that move real quick. Let's see if we see what other kind of movement we get here. I'm sorry to hear that, Tiny. Yeah, remember, people are traveling today. We might have a little bit slower market action. I'm going to buy this again. Let's see. All right, I'm in with 2 contracts here. There we go. We'll add a little bit more to this here. We got a pretty big cushion. I'm going to give it some time. Okay. We're going to take half off up here. We can fight our way back up and start breaking this high up there is what I want. There we go. Good. Fight our way back up there. There we go. I cut it right there. We got a support level. Quick little dip buy here, attacking this trend. I could probably buy this again too. See, should have bought it again maybe, but I missed it. AMD's pushing up towards highs again. Nvidia's at the highs of the day, right around 182.90s here. So Bitcoin's rising back up. It's at 87.3. The president's talking right now. Oh no, this was a while ago. So he said this earlier this morning. Nothing really that should move markets. All right, I'm not really interested in buying this now. Kind of dipped too much here. It'll probably still go up, but I don't like it as much. I think the edge is a little bit lower in buying this dip now. We'll see if I'm wrong. AMD just ripped up over highs though. Look at AMD up here in the top. AMD at 213s almost now, so this might actually still be pretty strong. But I'm just not really interested in it. I'm not going to do it. I think it's a little too risky. Tesla sell it off. Is it really? Tesla down to 420s. Elon's favorite number. Yeah, AMD is up there. See if we get some corrections here, though. All right, so look, there's a pullback here. I mean, Bitcoin's able to go up. All right, so there's the big drop. Glad I didn't buy back in. Tesla now technically red on the day, under 420. Look at this big drop here. How you guys doing? You guys red or green right now? I mean, I'll pivot to more of a bear bias if I need to. I'd like a little bit more of a breakdown, though. I'm too worried it's going to bounce at the 200 exponential right here. Plus that 185 level. Not buying anything until after December 10th. Yeah, I mean, the next rate decision is going to matter. I think, you know, if we take a look at the odds at this point, they're currently at 83%. They went down a little bit from today's jobless claims report. January odds. Yeah, January odds, they're thinking we're either going to pause. Depends on if we cut in December, but they think by January we'll cut just 25. Nvidia and AMD turning back down after looking strong at the open. United Health ripping back up to 330s today. That ECB member speaking. Oh yeah, we got Chicago PMI in 5 minutes. Let's see what Chicago PMI brings. Look at like United Health right now. 330s. Getting some momentum here. Green week, nothing fancy, but green 2.8%. Hey, nice, Corey. Good job. Sure. All right. Look at United Health, though. All right, guys, we have 4 minutes left until Chicago PMI. I don't know how much Chicago PMI is actually going to move markets. I really don't. I don't know if they're necessarily going to move markets at all. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I don't know if Chicago PMI is moving anything. It might. We'll see what happens. It's expected today at 44.3. A little bit stronger than the previous of 43.8. Again, well, we'll see. We'll see. Chicago PMI in about 3 minutes, give or take. We got personal income and new home sales coming out at 10 a.m. as well. I mean, that's cool, Will Knight, but what's the relevance of that comment? You responded to somebody? I mean, live your life. I'm not mad. I'm not judging. You know? United Health up to 334s. AMD breaking down at 208s. Tesla at 418s, 419s. Tesla again going back to red on the day. Nvidia broke down so far this morning. I'm watching 180 as support. I think 180 psychological level it wants to stay over. Look at the 200 EMA right here. This is why I always tell people to watch the 200 exponential. Look at these bounces right here. Exactly off the 200 EMA. Yeah, PMI can move it, but Chicago PMI is one of the smaller ones, I would say. But maybe we'll get something. I don't know. We'll see. Trying to avoid getting faked out today. We had some good trades to start the day, but yeah. Market's chopping a little bit now. We got 2 minutes left, a little bit less. It's a self-fulfilling thing, Anton. So like people are watching the 200 exponential. Algorithms are probably trading it, and so when we go down there, more people are watching it, so more people buy it and ride it back up. And same thing here, right? It's a very similar. It's self-fulfilling. Technicals are all self-fulfilling. All right, guys. Bitcoin falling down, Nvidia falling down a little bit, AMD falling down a little bit. United Health is up. Microsoft's down at the open, but starting to rebound some. Tesla is technically green on the day again, back over 420s. All right, guys, less than a minute before Chicago PMI. Yeah. Robinhood up to 125s again. That 153s in September, October. Again, Chicago PMI today expected 44.3. It releases. Hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you catch up to the stream. We'll see if this moves. Again, it's expected at 44.3. Previous was 43.8. Here we go. The report comes out right now. See if it's coming out or not. I don't see it. Is Chicago PMI delayed? Hey, we did get a big rip here, but I don't think it's out right now. Not unless my sources are wrong. It's supposed to come out at 9:45. We did get a pop up here, but again, I don't see it. Chicago PMI 36.3. They expected 43. 36.3. 36.3. So it is out. It's at 36.3. Much weaker than expected. PMI 36.3. What Chicago PMI came out as. Guys, 36.3. Here's the numbers right here. Expected 46 or 44. Previous was 43.8. So weaker than expected Chicago PMI. not really influencing things too much. And we also have what we got existing home sales. Again, you want to help support the channel, check out Top Step. Top Step just debuted their cheaper activation fee. So they reduced their overall activation fee to $129. They also gave you an option now. If you're good at passing them the first or second try, they reduced their activation fee to only $129 universally. And you can also get like a combine for $89 with no activation fee. So if you're good at passing them first or second try, you know, you can use those options now and have no activation fee whatsoever on Top Step. And Top Step, incredibly useful for traders. Most day traders lose money. So it's just a great way to learn how to trade when most day traders lose. And so again, if you want to check them out, I'll put the link up. Great way to help support the channel. No PDT rule in futures. They're just a genuinely useful thing. Yeah, I'll put it up. They're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased, of course, because I get paid by them. But genuinely useful, guys. Genuinely useful. Yeah, here's the link right here. Oh, okay, I understand, Will. Okay, gotcha. I understand where the comment's coming from. All right, guys. Next thing we got here is what do we got? Is it new home sales? Yeah, new home sales for September. Expected at 710 now. We got Chicago PMI. We moved a little bit. We went up a little bit. Ugh. NASDAQ looking strong here, but we could also just chop here. We also could chop. I kind of want to buy this dip. We'll try it in a different account. I'll buy this little dip here. Rex. We're in 2 contracts here. I just want to see if we rip back up. Here we go. There we go. I'm going to cover half right there just to lock that in. Hold the rest. We'll add more if it starts to push up test highs. There we go. Add a little bit more up here. There we go. Take half of that off now. I might just add size back here since we're green. Take 3, maybe 5 contracts here. Flat. Now we're green again. There we go. We're going to start reducing size again up here. Try to attack this range. Add it back. There we go. Take it off. If we push towards the highs again. We're back up there. Yes, sir. This could be pop up. I'm going to cut it right there at the top of the range here. Not a bad little trade. We'll take that. Green is good. Kind of add it back at the right times. Yeah, market's closed tomorrow. I'm not streaming tomorrow. Markets are closed. It's Thanksgiving holiday here in the United States. Equities are closed. Everything's basically closed tomorrow, I think. So. Bitcoin, guys. Back up to green on the day, technically, I think, for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is at least close to green, but I'm pretty sure it's actually green. Levels are perfect. Top 3 best levels ever. AMD starting to wake up a little bit here. It's at 210s. Remember, I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Always make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. Nothing here is investment advice. Some of the links are affiliate links and all that stuff. Don't copy me. No, we're back open on Friday. The markets are back open on Friday. But it is the day before Thanksgiving. You got to think a lot of people are traveling today. I was traveling yesterday, but a lot of people are going to be traveling today to go visit family and eat. And so, yeah. All right, look at this dip right down to 250s. Ugh, I gotta pee. But I'll wait 8 more minutes though. But it might be the longest 8 minutes ever. Yeah, Friday market closes early. That's pretty standard. All right, look at this dip here, chat. And this is why, like, when you see me take profit, guys, most of the time I'm taking profit at a range like this. Why? Why am I doing that? Because a lot of the time people start selling at the top of the range. And so I don't try to attack like a big high of the day breakout, not unless I'm very green on the trade already. I'm usually looking more so for at the top of the range is where I want to get out. I usually do intermittent fasting. So like I'll fast until 2 or 3 and then I'll eat whatever I want and then fast again the next day. Hold it until next FOMC. Yeah. I'll try. Jim Cramer just posted this picture. Is this bullish or bearish? Let me know. I mean, it's a cow, so it's not a bull necessarily here. And if Jim Cramer posted a picture of a bull, I think that would be bearish. But it was a picture of a cow. So. Definitely not a bear. All right, guys. We got 6 minutes left. All right, we got new home sales at 10. We'll see what that looks like. Oh, all right. Pretty sideways range here, guys. I mean, I'm telling a lot of jokes and horsing around because this is the range today so far. The opening bell. Bears are starting to pick up a little bit. We'll see what happens here. We're watching Nvidia. Nvidia now under 180s, psychological level of 180s. Bitcoin's also falling back down to 87s here. So, seeing a little bit more weakness that we have. Yeah, we already got the Chicago numbers. They came in at 36.3. All right, we're down to 25,200s here. Get Nvidia down under 180s at 179s. Bitcoin fading down a little bit at 87.2s. AMD falling down a little bit as well. Oh, we're actually back green on the day. Good. It's mostly driven by Home Depot. We got new home sales coming out at 10 a.m. I don't think it's going to move markets, but I'm curious to see what the new home sales data is. It's expected today at 710,000, and now this is September data. It's expected at 710,000. Last time was 800,000. So again, they're expected 710,000. Last time was 800,000. If we do the percentage math on that, that would be a decrease of 11.25% if they come in as expected. And here we go. We got it in about 3 minutes. Again, we had jobless claims show up lower than expected today at 216 versus 225 expected, previous of 222, which was actually revised up by 2,000. All right, let's see what new home sales show up as. All right, guys, 2.5 minutes. S&P Global downgrades Tether USDT, citing increased exposure to Bitcoin and gold. S&P is now 2% away from hitting all-time highs. I got pushed back down here. Kind of flat day, though, so far. All right, guys, 2 minutes. Old trap, maybe. All right, I gotta move my legs a little bit, dude. All right, guys, Nvidia at 179s here, 179.20s, still breaking lows of the open. Previous closing price is at 177, but Nvidia is kind of fading down here. We got a minute and a half left before new home sales data. Again, it's too sideways for me to really want to trade. I'm very green on the day. We're green in 2 different accounts. Not really many losing trades yet. So. Look at this drop. All right, here we go. New home sales, 1 minute. Look at these drops showing up here. Bitcoin down to 86.8s. Nvidia down to 178s. AMD down to 207s. Almost flat on the day now for Nvidia and AMD here. SPY turning back down as well. SPY's at 677. NASDAQ falling quickly here, guys. Falling quickly. I don't really see any news either. I think this is just momentum. Here we go. We got 20 seconds before new home sales. Nvidia, AMD, tech dropping a little bit. All right, and here's the new home sales data. It showed up. See. Waiting for the new home sales data. I'm pretty sure it's coming out today, unless they're pushing this back too, which I don't think it is. This is September data. Waiting for the new home sales data. I don't see it. Expected at 710,000. I'm looking to see what it showed up as. I don't see anything. We're also supposed to get personal income for September here. I don't see that either. Weird. Yeah, I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see the new home sale, so maybe they're just delayed in releasing it. I don't know. Usually I get it immediately, but I'm not seeing it today. So weird. Looking at a bunch of different sources, but just not seeing it. Yeah, nobody's posting it. Strange. Oh well. Yeah, so I guess they're not releasing new home sales today. Oh. Got logged out here. Yeah, my Top Step X is down. Weird. Yeah, Top Step is down. Yeah, API issues. Top Step is down right now too. So weird, strange. I'm wondering if other API issues are affecting new home sales. We also didn't get personal. We also didn't get new home sales. We didn't get personal income and spending. This might be delayed too. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna cut out of here. So yeah. Sorry, guys. Y'all be safe here. Again, have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be good. Again, Bitcoin at 87K. Yeah, well, we get PCE inflation data on the 5th of December. But we're supposed to get new home sales maybe, but maybe that's delayed too. But yeah, I'm going to cut out. Listen, guys, as soon as I close this stream, it's going to bring you to Friday's stream. And again, looking at the NASDAQ before we close the day here. NVIDIA, 179. NASDAQ starting to pop back up at 25,150 here, this level we got on the chart right here. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, y'all have a safe and happy holiday for all my United States friends. For my worldwide friends, y'all have a great day as well. Y'all be safe in this market. We might get choppiness today just because markets are a little bit sketchier today, I would say. Not a lot of stuff going on. People might be traveling in the U.S. And U.S. markets are closed tomorrow, open back up Friday. Again, y'all be good. Have a great day. I love you all. Y'all be safe. And yeah, have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Or Friday. Sorry, Friday. Again, as soon as I close it, it's going to redirect you to Friday's stream. By the way, let me make sure that's working. Yeah, that's on. Okay, guys. I'll see you guys on Friday.